Good morning, it's 10:15 right now. We are gonna leave Kirkham now. We just checked out of the hotel and we're gonna make our way to Stanley, which is really in the heart of the mountains and at the foot of the Sawtooth Mountains, which are some of the most beautiful mountains anywhere, so I'm excited about that. We're gonna have a late breakfast slash early lunch there at the Stanley Baking Company. I saw that they had biscuits and gravy and that sounds really good right now, so I'm gonna have that. Cassie is pre-eating.
I'm done. I still have a cheese stick.
And we'll get there in about an hour and 12 minutes, get to Stanley then. Today will be a day of hot springs, mostly. We're on the other side of the pass now, and this valley out here just opened up in front of us. And this is the valley that Stanley is in, just further down the valley. So I got a large plate of biscuits and gravy. Cassie got something called We Got the Beet, which is like beets and eggs and avocado on toast. Just finished up with lunch, or breakfast, whatever you want to call it, at that place, and it was really good. Those biscuits and gravy, I mean, that was a huge portion and it was really tasty. How was yours?
It was good. It was healthy.
Healthy, yeah. Not as good as mine.
I panicked.
It has started to rain again, which for our plans today isn't a huge deal. For hot springs, that's not a huge deal. If we were hiking or something like that, or kayaking, then that'd be a bit of an issue, but for hot springs, whatever. We're gonna drive to the first hot spring. I think we're gonna see go to four today, 3 or 4. That's the plan anyway. And the first one is about an hour away from here to the west, so we just got gas. Now we're ready to hit the road again. We have arrived at Sacagawea Hot Springs. Beautiful spot along the river, just stunning river. And then you can see a couple of the soaking pools. You can see one right there. Another one over there. Whoa, look at this. We've got steam coming off of the slope above the river. The hot water's coming out right here. Smells like sulfur. What do you think?
So nice.
So we spent about 40 minutes soaking down there. We checked out both of the pools. This one wasn't great. It was either way too hot or way too cold. This one was definitely better, but you could only sit in certain areas. Otherwise, you were in boiling, scalding water or in freezing river water. But we were able to find a couple of nice, moderately warm, you know, nice and warm spots, and so we sat there and soaked for a while, and it was really nice. And it's got to be one of the most beautiful places I've seen. I mean, as far as scenery goes, it doesn't get much better than hot springs on the side of a beautiful turquoise river. We're gonna go back to the main highway now and look for a few more springs. The next one is kind of in a campground, I think, and so it's supposed to be pretty popular. The guidebook says that it's really popular. The book that we're using on this trip is Complete Guide to Idaho Hot Springs. I'll put a link in the description, but it's a good book. As far as I can tell, it's the definitive source of hot spring information in Idaho. There are hundreds of hot springs in Idaho, more than any other state, and this book covers 120 of them. So I'll go back out to the main road and go on to the next one. We've parked here and paid our $5 fee. I think it's just a short hike over to the hot springs. There's a campground over here that's $15 a day, $15 a night, but the day use fee is $5 if you just want to park and go to the hot springs. So that's what we're gonna do. We've really lucked out here. There's no one else here. Maybe the lousy weather is putting people off. I don't know, but this is really nice. I like this one a lot. There are a bunch of different pools, maybe half a dozen little pools along the base of the hot water here. The uppermost pool is pretty cool, and then it gets into warm. And then this one is warmish, hot. And then I think they get hotter as you go down, as more hot water goes into them. I'm amazed that there's no one else here.
Yeah.
Like, given how many people were in the campground.
We saw a few people walking back. Maybe it was just like a morning dip and now they're there for lunch.
Yeah, maybe. We had a really nice soak in here. This is an awesome spot, but it's raining more and more, and that doesn't affect the hot spring experience, but it's time for us to move on to the next one. We've been here for like half an hour, 45 minutes. This is the section above the pools. You can see the hot water coming out of the mountainside here, and here, and over here. Yeah, it's probably scalding water right there, so I'm not too interested in that. Now on to the next one. 2 down, 2 hot springs to go. Okay, we're at a little trailhead. We're about 3/10 of a mile or half a mile from the springs. No other cars here, so we should have the springs all to ourselves. It's a pretty little creek down here. I think the hot springs are on the side of the creek, just further upstream. It's still raining. We started hiking up the right side of the creek, the west side, but it wasn't a very good trail. And then we remembered that the guidebook said that there was a log bridge across the creek. Well, there wasn't. It had been washed away, is my guess. And so we went back and we forded the creek on foot. It was up above the knees, kind of mid-thigh. And I was too busy with both of us getting across safely to mess with filming. But now that I know it can be done, I'll film it when we go back, on our way back there. I think we found it, and it is in yet another just stunning location. You can see the pool right here, hot water coming in from this way, some cold water being diverted in from this way to make the water temperature a bit more manageable. There's a little trowel here even to help with the flow of the cold water coming in. How's it feel? Yeah, this is the best one yet. It's you know, a little bit harder to get to, but just incredibly beautiful. We've got this meadow of like wildflowers off to the side. We have the creek on the other side. There's no one else here. It is just perfect. Oh, and the temperature of the water is just, it's nice and hot. It's not warm. It's a good hot spring, good hot pool, but not too hot. You kind of have to ease your way into it because it's so hot, but once you're in it, it feels really nice.
And it's consistent too.
Yeah, it's consistent. The temperature is the same everywhere in the pool, whereas the last two places that we've been, you kind of had to be in exactly the right spot. It was better at the last place than at the first place, but this is better than either of those too, so just amazing, amazing spot. We were here for about 45 minutes and it was just incredible. Such a beautiful, beautiful spot. We read in the book that there are a couple other soaking streams, another, I don't know, 100 yards or something like that upstream, so we're gonna go see if those exist. I just got stung by a bee on my arm. It was unpleasant for those first few minutes there, but it's feeling okay now. We hiked another 5 or 10 minutes up the trail, looking for the other set of hot springs, but didn't find anything. So we're heading around, or turning around and heading back to the trailhead, and I'll be sure to film going across the creek this time around. guidebook says that this is an off the beaten path hot spring, and I believe it. It feels that way for sure, especially when you consider having to cross a raging creek like that. I almost went in, almost fell in on the way back. But it's 6:40 now, and we're trying to decide whether to go see one more hot spring, which is about 25-mile round trip from where we'll be back out at the highway, or if we should just go find a place to set up camp for the night. I think we'll see what time it is once we get out to the highway, and then I'll do some calculations and see how much time it would take to do that trip, and then also how much time it would take to get back to where I want to camp for tonight. And finally, these are the last hot springs of the day, Kirkham Hot Springs. Yeah, nice view of the river down there, South Fork of the Payette River. It's another $5 entrance fee to get here. There's a campground here, and you drive through the campground, pay the $5, and then go down to the river. This spring is definitely more popular than some of the others. I already see a few people down there. Well, that was absolutely one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. It looked fake, almost. Really amazing. The perfect water temperature. It was like the kind of thing you'd find at a water park, but it was real and natural and just incredible. I'm amazed that a place like that exists. So what did you think of the springs?
They were... these ones?
Yeah.
They were unreal! I really enjoyed them.
We're gonna head back to one of the places where we were earlier in the day, near Sacagawea Hot Springs. There were some campsites in that area that looked pretty awesome down by the river. So we're gonna go try to find one of those places to camp for the night. That is a deer in the road, wanting to get hit. This is the 4th deer we've seen in the last like half hour. Okay, we found a super awesome campsite that's right by the river. We're parked here. I think I'm gonna set up the awning out here. Doesn't get much better than this.
We have a little beach area.
Yeah, we even have a little beach. We can set our chairs right here. This is stunning. I'm not exactly sure which national forest unit we're in. I don't know if it's Sawtooth National Forest, Salmon National Forest, Chalice National Forest. I've seen all three of those in the last couple of days. I don't know exactly where we are here. I'll put it on the screen. But in this section, for like 30 or 40 miles along the main highway here, you can only camp in designated areas. And that doesn't mean campgrounds. Like, these are all boondocking spots, but there has to be a little tent symbol, the little camping signal or symbol. And there was here. So here's the more or less completed setup. We're about to have dinner. We'll have some turkey sandwiches. We've got our 2 chairs and the little table. And then looking inside, we have the 2 beds. What is this? These are my shorts hanging up to air dry a little bit. And then we've got the cooler in the front seat with the food on top of it. So basically, we just move the cooler and the food bins from the back to the front, so we can sleep back here. Getting our dinner ready. Like I said, we're having turkey sandwiches. It's a really simple and easy thing to make on camping trips, and it tastes good, so we're having those. And then we also got some banana bread this morning at the cafe, at the bakery slash cafe. So we'll be having that for dessert. We're using the lids of the containers kind of as eating platforms and plates, I guess as little tables, and then using paper towels as plates that we can just throw away. That's it for today's video. What an amazing day. This is it's just been really awesome. 4 hot springs today, a couple yesterday. What a trip, huh? Hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what your favorite part was, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions. As always, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already. Thanks!